What's going on, people? My name is CJ Curry. I'm back, and we're talking more Prize Picks plays for Monday Night Football's doubleheader. That's right, we got 2 games on Monday Night Football tonight instead of 1. The fantasy football gods have blessed us. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button now. We're on our way to 24,000 subs. I think by the time this video hits you guys that we could probably go past 24,000 subscribers. So I appreciate everybody who's along for the ride. Hit that like button as well. You guys are continuing to crush those likes. If you get more than 100 likes on today's video, I'll drop a Thursday Night Football video for you, of course. And you might want to make sure that you have those notifications turned on so you're not missing out on any new content that I drop here on the channel. Picks, plays, parlays, they tend to change pretty quickly here, especially on Prize Picks. So I don't want you guys missing out on anything. All right. Without further ado, let's slide over to the Prize Picks board. And yes, Prize Picks is still running that Caleb Williams free square. So it's a great time to start playing on Prize Picks if you haven't yet. Basically, Caleb Williams has to throw for at least 1 passing yard, and then that's a free pick, a free winning square. So take advantage. You're also going to get a $5 option where you play $5. They're going to give you $50. So you basically 10x your money right out of the gate. You risk 5, they give you 50. So take advantage of that offer. Code CJ Curry will get you that deal. Go to the description of today's video. Use that special link I've left for you. Make your first deposit and take advantage of this free square and of that $50 promo offer that they're running. All right. So what do we have today? Well, we're going to start things off with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are expected to be trailing tonight, playing the Buffalo Bills, and they haven't been very good this season, but I do like the fact that Trevor Lawrence will be playing from behind in this game, meaning he will probably have to drop back more versus handing it off more. And when he drops back, that's more opportunities for him to tuck the ball and run. So I'm looking at a 16.5 rushing yards. This one's projecting well. We do have a little bit of an edge or advantage at just 16.5, whereas some other sites and books have them at 17.5, meaning Prize Picks might just be a touch too low versus some of these other sites and books. So let's go over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. This tool right here has to be a tool that you're using each and every day if you want to be profitable on sites like Prize Picks and Underdog, etc. Taking a look here at Trevor Lawrence's rushing yards, you can see at 16.5, he's got about a 51% chance of going over 16.5. But as I mentioned, what really caught my eye is the fact that all these other sports books now have him at 17.5 rushing yards, where Prize Picks is kind of trailing at just 16.5. So the market's starting to move. Prize Picks hasn't quite caught up yet. And like I mentioned before, there are some good projections here that are kind of backing this prop. So let's go over here to the rushing yards category. We'll type in Trevor Lawrence's name. They've got him projected for about 18 rushing yards. Again, the line is 16.5 on Prize Picks. So that's a few yards difference for Trevor Lawrence. We're also going to use the Blitz. The Blitz has some excellent projections as well. And I typically use Fantasy Labs and the Blitz for most of my NFL projection needs. But they have him, the Blitz, at 20.1 rushing yards today. So pretty decent projections versus a line of just 16.5. And again, I do expect Jacksonville to be trailing on the road, playing Buffalo. So hopefully Lawrence will get a couple of chances to break the pocket and run for a couple of first downs. So there you go. There's Trevor Lawrence. Here's his game logs in case you guys were wondering about those. Let's switch this over to more than 16.5 rushing yards. And you can kind of see here what he's done this season. 2 games played. He only had 8 rushing yards against Miami, 45 though against Cleveland. So hopefully he's able to clear just 16.5 taking on the Buffalo Bills. Now, in terms of rushing yards allowed, the Bills actually do rank 22nd so far this season in rushing yards allowed. And then when you look at rushing yards allowed to the quarterback position, they rank 28th, meaning this is a pretty good matchup here for Lawrence to get some yards on the ground if he so chooses. So this is Outlier, by the way. If you're not using Outlier yet and you want to get a 7-day free pass, check out the description of today's video. Outlier's got all your player prop research needs. If you're the type of person who likes rolling up their sleeves, getting down in the mud and researching these props yourself, they've got it all for you. So definitely check out outlier.bet or the link down in the description of today's video. So Trevor Lawrence, first pick over 16.5 rushing yards. The next one, we're staying in Jacksonville, and we're looking at a former Buffalo Bill who's taking on his former team tonight. Gabriel Davis, a little bit of a revenge game for Gabe Davis. 38.5 receiving yards, though. He's projecting much higher on some of these sharp NFL projection models. So we'll just have to see how sharp these projection models actually are tonight on Gabe Davis. But the Buffalo Bills have been kind of tough against the pass early on here. They've got 2 games under their belt, and so far they're doing a pretty good job of limiting passing plays and big passing and receiving games for guys like, Trevor Lawrence and Gabe Davis. But again, I do expect Jacksonville to be trailing in this game at some point. They are the underdogs here playing on the road, and hopefully Trevor Lawrence is dropping back more. Hopefully they're having to play catch up and air the ball out a little bit more, and I could see a situation where they force a couple of extra passes Gabe Davis's way as he is going against his former team here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. We're going to go back over here, punch in Gabe Davis's name. You can see that you got about a 52.1% chance of Davis going over 38.5 receiving yards. Every book besides PrizePicks has him at 39.5. So PrizePicks, again, is a yard too low. Now, a yard's not a whole lot, especially when you're talking about something with like receiving yards where there's a wide range of outcomes, right? Guys get yards after catch. Guys can break tackles and stuff like that. So receiving yards, they could land on a lot of different numbers, but 1 yard is 1 yard. We'll take the advantage or the value when we can get it. So a little too low on Gabe Davis at 38.5. So let's go check out some of the projections. I was telling you guys that they were looking good, and in fact, they are. Starting here with him on Fantasy Labs, they've got him projected for 44.1 receiving yards, so that definitely puts him over that 38.5 number we saw on PrizePicks. Let's go back over here and check out the Blitz. The Blitz has Gabriel Davis at 53.4 receiving yards. Again, the line is just 38.5, so 53.4 is quite a big edge or differential versus where he is at on PrizePicks. Now, when we take a look at his game logs this season, he's actually cleared 38.5 receiving yards in both of his games. So he is 2 for 2. And again, you get that little bit of a revenge narrative, a revenge factor. Even though the matchup on paper is tough against Buffalo, maybe tonight he clears once again, making him 3 for 3 to start the season. They're still going to be without Evan Ingram too. So even more reason why more targets, more balls should fly Gabe Davis's way. So Gabriel Davis over 38.5 receiving yards is your next pick. Swinging things over to the Buffalo side, I do like me some Cook tonight. Cook expected to be the favorite, playing for the Buffalo Bills, obviously, running back. Games in which the Buffalo Bills have played at home and have won have boded well for James Cook in the past. Him getting over 14.5 rush attempts seems like a good option for us tonight here. So let's take a look at this one. Going back over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, we'll punch in Cook's name. He only got 11 carries last week, mostly due to a blowout as Buffalo absolutely manhandled the Miami Dolphins. This one could turn into a blowout as well, but I think he gets a little bit more of a workload tonight if this game does stay close and competitive. 14.5 rush attempts, 51.48% chance of him going over 14.5. So if we're going to play this anyway, we should be taking it for the over, not the under, if we're going to lean one way or the other. Taking a look at the projections for him, we're going to go over here to Fantasy Labs and see what my guys Chris Raybon and Sean Kerner have to say. And their projections have Cook all the way up at 16 rushing attempts versus Jacksonville tonight. So they do expect him to get a pretty healthy workload. Like I said last week, pretty light workload for him. So maybe tonight he gets a little bit more action and touches the ball a few more times. Taking a look at his projection over on the Blitz, we'll go to rushing attempts and plug his name in there. And when we do so, they've got him projected for about 14.7 carries tonight, putting him closer to that 15 or more carry mark than the 14 or less. So leaning more than leaning less in this case. Taking a look at his game logs here, I was poking around, went back to last season, and I was just looking at games in which he had played at home. Last season, he averaged about 14.3 carries per game. When you look at the home games, though, that number did go up to 15.2 carries per game or rushing attempts per game when he played at home. And then you change that to games that they won, his hit rate actually went up quite a bit, and his carries went up quite a bit to 17 carries or rushing attempts per game in games in which he played at home and the Buffalo Bills won the game by 6 or more points. So he averaged well over the 14.5 carries in games played from last season. That was last season. Let's take a look at this season here. The one game that Buffalo won, in which they played at home and were favorites to win by 6 or more points, he had 19 carries, and that was against the Arizona Cardinals. So again, Cook playing at home, Buffalo expected to win by 6 or more points according to the spread set by Vegas. I think this all plays well for James Cook to have at least 15 carries tonight. Now, if Jacksonville comes out and stuns the Bills and makes this game somewhat competitive and, blows them out or something weird happens, a lot of weird stuff's been happening, then, this could all go to crap, to hell in a handbasket. But for now, I think pre-game, James Cook over 14.5 rushing attempts seems to be a fine option for us. Let's get into these other picks here. We're going to get into the Washington and Cincinnati game. But before we do that, guys, if you're looking for a community, I've got one set up. We're talking picks, plays, parlays, sharing our favorite stats, information, sharing our favorite slips from PrizePicks, Underdog, Better, and other sites. Get in the Dub Club. I've partnered up with Dub Club. All you do, sign up for Dub Club. They'll start you off with a 7-day free trial. And then from there on, it's as low as 67 cents per day to get more picks and plays and parlays from me and other members in our awesome community. So I've left a pinned comment down in the comment section below. Click that link, get started, join Dub Club, and start winning more together. All right, here we go. Let's talk about the first one. This guy's just due for a big game. He's due for a big game, and I think everything seems to kind of be lining up for him to have that big game, hopefully tonight. Talking about Jamar Chase, wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's going up against a Washington team that is just not defending the pass very well. And I know Joe Burrow's had his struggles. I know Jamar Chase is having contract issues and has had his struggles. But they're getting T. Higgins back tonight. And so those double teams on Jamar Chase should be less frequent, less often. And hopefully Chase can win his matchup tonight because it looks really good on paper. Speaking of which, we can go here and take a look at this. Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals, as far as his grade goes, 1.32 grade here in his wide receiver versus cornerback matchup. As far as the matchup goes, it is a plus matchup for him going up against Benjamin St. Juste, whoever that is. Poor guy's probably in for a long night if Jamar Chase has anything to say about it. But yes, favorable matchup here. Washington has not been very good against the pass so far, making guys like Daniel Jones look like a hero when we all know that he's pretty much a zero, right? So if Daniel Jones can have a good game, hopefully Joe Burrow can as well. So things looking pretty good here for Jamar Chase. Let's get you a couple projections, starting with this one. Going over to the Blitz. They've got Jamar Chase projected for 20.1 fantasy points, guys. 20.1 fantasy score is line 17.5. So that's a pretty huge differential. So a lot of potential here for Jamar Chase. Let's see if the Cincinnati Bengals can capitalize on this juicy matchup. I'll get you one more projection. And for that one, we're going to go over here to Fantasy Labs and look at Sean Kerner's projection for Jamar Chase. He's got him a whole 1 or more point higher at 18.81 fantasy score. So Jamar Chase hopefully grabs himself a touchdown tonight. As far as touchdowns allowed to opposing wide receivers, well, the Washington football team, we'll call them, is allowing the most, or tied for allowing the most touchdowns to opposing wide receivers with 6 on the season so far. And that's just in 2 games played. So hopefully that trend continues again tonight. But yeah, Jamar Chase over that 17.5 fantasy score number looks pretty darn good. And then we'll get to this last guy here, Terry McLaurin of the Washington football team. I'm going to keep calling them that because, they're no longer the Skins, as we all know. But anyway, head coach of the Washington football team is vowing to get Terry McLaurin more involved. So his 4 receptions is looking pretty good. I think 4 or more is absolutely possible here, according to Cliff Kingsbury, head coach of the Commanders. Basically, he said, we have to find a way to get Terry more involved. That's on me. He's a fantastic player. So head coach holding himself accountable, saying, hey, we haven't gotten Terry McLaurin the football enough. And Terry McLaurin, once again tonight, will have a great matchup. If we go and take a look at who he's going to be more than likely lined up against tonight, Terry McLaurin, Washington Commanders receiver, going up against Cam Taylor-Britt of the Cincinnati Bengals, their starting right cornerback. You can see that as far as a matchup grade goes, it is a big plus matchup. One of actually the best plus matchup in terms of wide receiver versus cornerback talent. So very good matchup there for Terry McLaurin. So it's just going to be a matter of if Daniels can get him the ball. Now, as far as this one goes, yes, it is projecting well. Let's go over to the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer and plug McLaurin's name in there. You see McLaurin sitting at 4 receptions. He's at 3.5 on all major sports books. Sharp books like Pinnacle have him as a minus 193 betting favorite to go over 3.5 receptions. Minus 198 betting favorite over on FanDuel to go over 3.5 receptions. So it's almost guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed, but it's almost guaranteed that he's going to have at least 4 catches tonight. 53% chance that he's going to snag at least 4 balls or more. Ton of juice coming in on the over at 3.5. So that 4 seems pretty safe as far as a landing spot. Hopefully there's some ceiling, some upside of 5 receptions because we don't play for ties around here. No, we don't. As far as projections go for McLaurin, we'll go over to the receptions category and take a look. He's projected for 4.1 over on Fantasy Labs. Over on the Blitz, they've got him projected for right around 4 as well, 3.7, so closer to 4 than 3. So I think he's going to get that 4 number. It's just a matter of, is he going to get that 5 number for us? He did get 6 balls last week against the New York Giants, so the upside's definitely there. They're already starting to get him more involved in this offense and in this matchup and in a game where Washington is expected to be trailing the Cincinnati Bengals. I could see a scenario where Terry McLaurin gets at least 4 receptions tonight. So I think that's a pretty safe option for him to get 4, maybe even more. But who cares what I think? What do you guys think? Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Are you loving any of these picks? Hating any of them? Let me know why. I want to pick your brain. I'd like to see what you're liking, what you're hating. And I appreciate everybody who's leaving comments, likes, sharing the channel, sharing these videos with your friends, family, anybody playing on PrizePicks or betting on NFL player props. For everybody in Discord and Dub Club, I'll see you in the community. Good luck on all your picks, plays, and parlays tonight. We'll catch you in the next video real soon. Peace.